Is the lore of Slaanesh fun enough in Tides of Torment? You asked, so I want to do a little overview of what the lore can do for you. Let's dive deeper. The passive Blissful Rapture, triggering upon casting, has a 10-second duration on paper, and I understand since the first second is free, it's really 11. During this time, the army gets melee attack plus 12 and leadership plus 4 for all units. The impact for this is pretty much picture perfect for Slaanesh armies. Take Daemonettes. Rank 0 vanilla have melee attack 40, but one simple spell and they are attacking with melee attack 52. Attack interval is 4 seconds, the animations aren't so long that you don't average a pretty decent amount of attacking with the bonus, if valid opponents are available, like ones not knocked down. So, melee attack 52 is pretty serious stuff. It may be temporary, but this ebb and flow helps chew into more robust melee factions like Nurgle. Lash of Slaanesh comes in at 6 wins for 100 range, 30 seconds cooldown, an expanding tear-shaped wind spell with 12 meters radius at max. It moves really fast. Anyway, this damage is only 12 damage, but 100% of that is armor piercing. 9 wins Overcast doubles the damage to 24, with the Overcast risk to the self, of course. The fact this is guaranteed through armor looms large, and the more chances to trigger the passive, the better. Acquiescence also comes for 6 wins, 200 meter range, 25 second duration, 29 second cooldown. Single enemy affected. The enemy thus affected is speed minus 25% and melee defense minus 24, which is half of what the enfeebling foe gives you, and is relevant to, triggering a passive with plus 12 melee attack against that same target. The Overcast version, for 8 wins, increases the speed debuff to minus 45%, so the use is obvious. This is when a single target needs to be stopped from running away. Pavanne of Slaanesh has long been considered one of the most broken spells around. It's 14 wins here, single target, 100 meter range, 38 second cooldown, the 24 second duration is split into 2 components, a damage phase for 10 seconds, where total damage is listed as 62 to 125, better used against larger units. The other effect is causing plus 3% per second fatigue buildup, which certainly adds up. And then, when the second phase hits, 14 seconds of Rampage, which, if there are eligible enemies within range, hard not to be with only 100 meters range for the spell itself, but you still have to watch out for this. You don't want to be so far that they don't have a target to Rampage against. Means the unit will beeline to the nearest enemy force, even if it's Empire handgunners. Overcast at 23 wins raises the second phase's duration to 24 seconds and raises the first phase's damage to 125 to 250 per second. Hysterical Frenzy for 8 wins can affect self or a single ally, 200 meter range, 28 seconds duration, 43 seconds cooldown. The target of this buff gets base and armor piercing melee damage plus 25% and melee attack plus 40. Of course, the passive applies for 11 seconds thereafter. Overcast at 12 wins raises the duration to 56 seconds. It doesn't increase the cooldown per se, but the cooldown won't begin until the spell expires. Obviously, this is the king of dueling buffs. Slicing Shards for 12 wins is a bombardment spell, cooldown 48 seconds, range 200 meters, duration 9 seconds, large strike area. The Shards, of which there are 60, do 80 damage on direct impact, 60 explosive damage, both components which are 100% armor piercing. The Overcast version, for 18 wins, does not increase the number of projectiles, but raises damage by 50% to 120 per direct hit and 90 explosive damage. Phantasmagoria, for 14 wins, has 100 meter range, 54 second cooldown, 11 seconds duration, 35 meter radius, and within that radius and for that duration, leadership minus 16 and cannot move. Overcast, Phantasmagoria costs 22 wins and pushes duration up to 22 seconds. That's a lot of a mobilization time. Can target the ground or a single enemy unit. You're probably like, if it's not a ranged faction, why do this? Well, it guarantees you can control which side is the rear for devastating flanker purposes. Entities start turning around and fighting after an initial charge takes place, if they can move. So how do we use the lore of Slaanesh? Pavanne is the most expensive spell, and it isn't even one of the so-called advanced ones, but I mean that's overcast, which greatly increases its usage. But basically, it's either armor-piercing damage or serious buffs and debuffs. Aside from Pavanne and its direct damage and rampage mechanic. Damage aside, the rest is about selecting a particular target to buff, debuff, isolate, and annihilate. The fact it's giving your entire army a short-term buff, smacking stuff in the face, is just a nice bonus. So it can do damage in an area, it can do single target wonkery, but it can't really do both. There are no wide area debuffs like in Lore of the Wilds or Neakara or Vampires here. You are either a scalpel, a whip, or a cauldron pouring ire and invective on a large area. You're just picking which implement to use in a particular situation. What is more Slaanesh than that? Take care, and have fun cracking the whip on your foes.